Hill, Republican Senator from Oklahoma, Tom Coburn. Senator Coburn, good to see you this morning.
Good morning. How are y'all?
We're doing okay. We've been talking an awful lot this morning about what Mitt Romney could do to change the dynamic in this race. If you were giving him advice about what he ought to be talking about, at least on the campaign trail, what would you tell him?
Oh, gosh, I'm the last guy you ought to be asking about what you ought to be talking about on the campaign trail. I'm too blunt and straightforward, so I'm not sure I can give him any advice on what to do. I've been through a lot of presidential elections and watched them and heard guys just like you all say things. I'd remind you Reagan was behind 14 points to Jimmy Carter at this time. I don't think the polls matter. I think people get it, and they know our country's in trouble. And I think you can poll any way you want, and you can pontificate. I think this is going to be a horse race down to the end, and I think Romney will have a great chance if people see the real Mitt Romney in getting their vote and fixing our country.
But you know, Tom, you and I got elected in '94 in the same type of districts. You got elected in a Democratic district. I was the first Republican elected in mine since 1872, and we won not only by getting Republicans, but also by getting independents, conservative Democrats, populists. You got elected statewide by doing the same thing. You may not want to give Mitt Romney advice, but the very people that helped elect you and me to Congress and then you to the United States Senate are the very people that Mitt Romney hasn't closed the deal on yet. So explain to our viewers how conservative policies help the 47% that Mitt Romney seemed to dismiss in this campaign video.
Well, I'm not sure he dismissed him. Look, this is a country about opportunity. And what we've not had, if you look at median household income, it's gone down 9.5% in the last 4 years. I was actually in a meeting with Chairman Bernanke yesterday telling us quit worrying about inflation. It's not real. If you're a median household in this country, inflation's killing you right now. He's clueless about that. What you have to do is to explain how you're going to create opportunities for the people in this country. And by the way, our own data in our office, when we look at it, 57% of American households get at least $2,500 a year from the federal government. Some of it earned, some of it not. But the point is, if you want a vibrant, successful America, what you have to do is have great opportunities for people to succeed on their own, not create greater opportunities for people to become not self-reliant, and that's the problem.
Senator Coburn, Harold Ford, good morning to you.
Hey, Junior, how are you, man?
I'm good, brother. I think you have been the most courageous voice in Washington around lowering federal spending and getting some controls going forward in terms of spending. What advice, or I should say, if President Obama is reelected, Mitt Romney is elected, can we have, can the American people have some confidence that some spending controls will be put in place, be it Simpson Bowles, be it the Gang of Six, be it a Coburn plan? What can the American people look forward to in the first 6 months of next year in terms of getting a long-term budget deal?
Harold, I think we have to. I don't think we have an option to do otherwise. If you look at our total debt to GDP, and then and remember, our total debt to GDP doesn't include state and city and municipal debt. If you compare us to those, we're way beyond some of the European countries that are in a problem. We have to send the signal that we're going to be growing up. There's a lot of things that have to change. One of the reasons you can't recruit some of the greatest people into government is because you don't give them the tools to manage things in government. So we need to change some of the personnel policies in the government. We need to set new parameters on where we'll spend. We need to eliminate duplicate. The GAO now shows us that there's $200 billion a year in duplicative services running from the federal government. I mean, we just stopped a program yesterday on a budget point of order for veterans job benefit. We have six veterans job programs now, and nobody knows if they're working. And we're spending $1 billion a year on it, and we were going to create another one that would have never gone away, even though it was supposed to be temporary. So, look, we're our own worst enemy, and the career politicians of this country are the worst enemy this country's ever seen in terms of solving our problems.
Senator, on the Veterans Jobs Bill that you just mentioned, it went down by a vote of 58 to 40. I am certainly not familiar with the arcane details of why it went down 58 to 40, and you mentioned there are several other veterans benefits jobs programs already in existence that we don't know whether they're working or not. But how does it happen when unemployment is so high among returning veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan that a bill like this gets voted down by 58 to 40? What was in the bill that caused 58?
Well, Mike, that's a great question. First of all, it's a temporary program. There's no such thing as a temporary program in Washington. You know that. You've seen it. Number two is, if in fact we're going to start addressing the bigger economic problems of this country, you got to quit playing felonious accounting with what you're doing, which is exactly what that bill did. It violated the Budget Control Act. It violated PAYGO. It's exactly the same kind of, pardon my word, crap that Congress has done for years that says one thing and does another. And so it was a gimmick. We knew it was a gimmick in terms of getting around the spending. It's time for us to start acting responsible. If we want to create another veterans program, we ought to do two or three things. One, we ought to know what's happening to the other job programs, all 6 of them. There already is a preference for hiring of veterans in this country. Number 3 is, if we're going to spend $1 billion, we ought to cut another government program to do it. And we didn't do that. What we did is we took 10 years of, quote, semi-cuts that aren't real to pay for spending over 5 years. That's how you get further in debt, not less in debt.
Okay, Senator, so we understand the problem with that bill, but what's being done then to help veterans coming back? 11% unemployment, it's twice that for our youngest veterans. What are we doing now today to help veterans get back to work?
Here's what we need to do. We need a dynamic economy where people have confidence and certainty about the future. We need a restructured tax code that will cause the capital that's sitting on the sidelines to be invested. You can create all the fake jobs you want, but in the long run, they're not going to do anything, and they're not going to produce any wealth, and all they're going to do is add to our deficit. So if you want a dynamic, thriving economy, what you have to do is reform the tax code, downsize the federal government, back off on regulations, and let the entrepreneurial spirit and the opportunity spirit of this country thrive. We've not done that. We're not doing that. And that's why you have this terribly anemic recovery. That at every corner, almost every business I talk to, from small to large, is getting bombarded with a bureaucrat from Washington telling them what they can and can't do. So that's the way you create jobs, create opportunity. We're not doing it. We're stifling opportunity with this administration.
Steve Rattner.
Senator, it's Steve Rattner. Just to go back to your answer to Junior's question a few minutes ago. First,
that was my nickname in the Congress.
I like that nickname. We should use it on set here more. I just want to underscore one thing you said about the inability, from firsthand experience, the inability of people in government to actually manage. And I think if we want to fix all the problems that you correctly articulated, I think there has to be more ability for people who are serving the executive branch to actually get some stuff done.
I agree.
But let me come to a more immediate problem than the bigger issues that you correctly highlighted, which is the fiscal cliff. Some of us are counting down to Election Day. Others of us are counting down to the fiscal cliff. Without going into the details, which I think at this point most people know, what's your guess? What's your expectation for what's going to happen as we get to December 31st? And do you think we're going to go over that cliff?
No, I don't, and I think we'll solve that problem. It'll create a compromise, and we'll be there. We know on both sides of that balance sheet that that's too big of a hit to the economy. It doesn't mean we shouldn't do some of it. We certainly should. It doesn't mean we shouldn't reform the tax code, and we shouldn't set a structure that sends a signal. But we're not going to knock the economy 3.2%, which is the Federal Reserve's estimate of what happens if we do nothing. Plus, the fact is now's the worst time in the world to be increasing taxes on anybody with the anemic growth. And the CBO uses 3.5% GDP growth. It's going to be half that, if that, in the next year. So all the CBO projections that you see are conditions much worse than what CBO says it is. So we're not about to let that happen, and compromise will be worked out. The point is nothing's going to happen until after the election, because all the Washington works on the next election cycle rather than what's best for the country.
Katty Kay.
Senator, you mentioned compromise there and the election. I mean, what's going to be the trigger? Let's say Barack Obama keeps the White House and Democrats keep the Senate and the House is still Republican, we have the same makeup. What's going to change after the election? What's going to be the trigger that makes people on Capitol Hill do the things that need to get done and the compromises that need to be made to deal with things like the deficit and entitlement reform?
Here's the rule of politics that's going to apply. The pain of doing the hard thing, when it's less than the pain of not doing it, the politicians are going to act. And that's where we're going to be after the election, facing the fiscal cliff and facing the problem. They're only going to make the tough decision when not making it causes them more pain. And that's the terrible assessment of politics in America today, and probably in Europe as well. Don't lead, don't get out, don't do the right thing. Only do it when you're forced to, because the pain of not doing it politically is too great. That's not leadership. That's cowardice, and that's what we see in Washington today.
Tom Coburn, I said it when you got elected to the Senate. There are very few politicians that I'm excited about when they win elections. You were one of them, because when you start talking about causing pain for politicians in both parties, nobody does it better than you.
Not
Tom,
intentionally.
No, you do the right thing, and that causes them pain. So, Tom, thanks so much for all you do, and thanks for being with us today.
All right. Good to see you guys.
Good seeing you,
Junior.
too.
Take care, brother.
Still ahead. We've got Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky. He's going to be here as well. Also, get an exclusive first look at the new issue of Time magazine in a few minutes with managing